a year ago, my classmates and I were going through one of the greatest stresses a young adult could go through, or so we seem to say. This was college applications. We were wondering and making decisions of how our lives would look like for at least the next 4 years of our life. We had to decide the career that we wanted to pursue, the college that was the right fit for us, the country where we wanted to live in, and the role that we wanted to play in society outside our high school hallways. This seemed almost impossible for us because we were still wondering and making decisions of who we were and questioning the world around us, and trying to pinpoint how our future would look like seemed almost impossible. Me personally, I was struggling between two different decisions. The first one was going to college. Most people in my grade made that decision, and society expects young adults to go from high school off to college directly. Therefore, I thought it was the most socially acceptable thing to do. College also meant, in a way, security for me. The reason was because it was providing me with a routine that I was already used to. I would spend my weekdays doing academics, such as going to class, doing homework, losing some sleep, and then spend my weekends hanging out with my friends, as well as hanging out with my family, which I was already doing. Even though I was completely aware that I had this sense of familiarity and that it was a new environment, I felt safe in it. Nevertheless, I also got another option, and this was working for a nonprofit organization. A couple of months right after 2017 started, I received an email from a nonprofit organization called Up With People, accepted my application to be the Mexican representative for their Cast B 2017. This promised me 3 different things. The first one was to do community service around the world. They also promised me to perform in a professionally produced show called The Journey. Not only that, but also travel around the world for a span of 6 months. Now, I wasn't quite sure of how these 3 things combine with each other. I did not know who I was going to experience this with. I did not know what I was going to do, the play that I was going to role in this show, nor where I was going to stand exactly in this globe. Nevertheless, what seemed very appealing to me was that the 3 things that they promised to me were my 3 greatest passions. Now, this story is what makes me stand here in front of you guys today. It was at around a year ago where I made the decision to take a leap of faith into the unknown, and it changed my life, the way I see it, perceive it, live it, completely. I stepped into my challenge zone, and that's what I'm talking about. How the challenge zone can make us more productive, more self-aware, and more adaptable individuals. So how I like to explain this concept is by seeing it as a spectrum. First, we have the comfort zone. Within the comfort zone, we have the patterns of behavior that makes us feel comfortable, hence the name. We're used to doing them. We know that our stress, as well as our risk, are reduced, and we're used to doing them. Therefore, it prevents any stress, any anxiety, and it gives us mental stability. On the complete opposite of the spectrum, though, we have the panic zone, which includes situations as well as things that create such level of anxiety and stress in an individual that they cannot function anymore. And therefore, it is very unhealthy for them to perform such things. Finally, we have the challenge zone, which is why I'm here today. The challenge zone increases our mental productivity as well as our performance. And there's a reason for that. We are entering into a situation where we are somehow familiar to what we're doing, but not really. And our anxiety levels are just right enough for us to perform correctly and even better. This is called optimal anxiety. I know this might seem weird or maybe irrational, but there is psychological research dating back since 1908. Oh no. Oh no. There we go. Such as Yerkes and Dodson's study made in 1908, where they discovered 3 different things. As seen in the graph, More specifically, towards the end of it, they discovered that if an individual experiences too much stress, that they will not function perfectly. In fact, their performance will get worse over time. They also discovered that if the individuals do not get stressed at all, their performance will be stable, meaning that it will not get impaired, which is good, but there will not be any improvement either. Finally, they discovered that if there's optimal levels of anxiety, that their interest as well as their attention will increase significantly, improving their performance. And this is why learning occurs in the challenge zone. Applying this to my personal life, more specifically a year ago, I was the type of person that was okay giving group presentations. The reason behind this was because I was giving information that was supported by my peers. And I knew that in the moment where I'm standing in front of an audience, if anything were to happen, I could rely to anyone, anytime, and therefore it was comfortable for me to do it. Nevertheless, when it came to individual presentations, I could keep a relatively stable voice tone. But my shaky hand, which seemed to have a life on its own, would be a dead giveaway of my stage fright. In the organization I used to work for, more specifically in the performance that we would do every week, I was casted as a dancer. And I was thrilled about it. I was jumping off the walls because it meant three things. No singing, no talking, and especially not giving my crazy hand act in front of thousands of people. Little did I know that a couple of days before our first performance, before our opening of the show, I was going to be put to the side by one of the members of the production team and was going to be told, hey, we want you to be the hostess for one of the numbers within our show. Which, yes, it involved talking. Not only talking, but it required me to dress up like that. Ruffled yellow shirt, polka dotted dress, and most ridiculously a fruit bowl or fruit basket on top of my head. I had to give information about how the organization is related to the Olympics. I had to dance around stage and give a couple of Andreas and ay-ay-ay's and just make a ridicule out of myself. And I asked the audience to do the same. I absolutely hated doing it because it cannot get more ridiculous than that. The audience thought it was amazing, but I would just keep telling myself that it's just bad. Do you know where he got his apple from? I could not do it. Nevertheless, as the semester progressed, as our tour progressed around the United States, I came to realize that if other people are enjoying it, I might as well do so too. I came to understand that by making fun of myself, I would enjoy this experience better, and that they would enjoy it too. Not only that, but when we reached our tour in Mexico, casting changed, show changed, everything changed. And I stopped doing it. And I started missing it as well. And that's when I started realizing of the growth that I went through in just a couple of months. I came from not wanting to give a presentation all by myself to being Carmen Miranda herself. This little opportunity that I got in my show opened a couple of more doors for me. I was asked to be the master of ceremonies as well as one of the lead singers for a show in Mexico. And I have to say, I've never sung before in my life in front of anyone, unless it was in the shower, but that's another story. It was just very nerve-wracking for me to go on stage and do that. I was also asked to be the storyteller speaking in German for Germany shows, a storyteller speaking in Dutch for our shows in the Netherlands, and the master of ceremonies speaking in Italian for our shows in Italy, while not being able to say 2 words of any of these languages. These opportunities, though I may not have recognized that they are a privilege for me to have them at the moment, taught me of how much I'm capable of doing. I started realizing of how capable I am of giving presentations all by myself, and my hunger for more challenges grew even bigger. And I think that this can be applied somehow to everyone in this audience. You truly do not know of what you're capable of until you try things that you never thought you would before. And you also do not know of what you're capable of until you challenge yourself, push yourself forward to do it. It was also a challenge for me as an introvert to interact with so many people at the same time. I traveled with 100 people from 15 different countries, which I learned to love so deeply and have become my family. I stayed with 18 host families along the way, shared my bed, my room, my couch with 16 different roommates, spent intermissions, ends of shows with people, interviewed future applicants, and spent time with community members to have a better understanding of the culture I was living in, as well as the local issues that they were having. It was challenging. But I can tell you today that it is way easier for me to start a conversation with a complete stranger out of nowhere, as creepy as that sounds, but it's way easier for me, I promise. I am not here today to tell you that your comfort zone is bad, because it's not. It just depends on how you decide to use it. I personally did not know that by taking challenges, by taking the path less taken, would lead me to opportunities such as performing for Pope Francis, Vatican TV, and 19 other thousand people. I also did not know that this opportunity would bring me to dance in the Spanish Steps in Rome in front of over 30,000 people. The challenge zone, your challenge zone can be very beneficial if you decide to see it from the benefits that you will receive afterwards, rather than the struggles that you will go through in the meantime. Only by going through your challenge zone will you discover things about yourself that you didn't know you had before, and you will have a better understanding of who you are as a person and what your next step will be for self-improvement or self-discovery. By going through the challenge zone, you will discover things that you didn't know existed in the first place, and you will be more open to see and experience things about the world. Oh, there it is! Yay! Awesome! There's the Pope. There's me. Okay. And, oh boy. I'll just continue. There we go, Spanish Steps. Okay, take time in your comfort zone to reflect on the experiences that you have on a daily basis. Reflect on the benefits that you will get from them. Not only that, but figure out how can you apply them to your life. And after you've done this, the best thing that you can do is continue in your journey and then discover new things and start this cycle all over again. Like I mentioned before, challenges can do more good than bad. It will make you discover things about the world that you didn't know existed in the first place, which makes this world a little bit more fascinating and a little bit more wonderful than how it already is. Try new things every day. Try a new style of calligraphy. Try out for the soccer team. Maybe audition for the school play. Or try out some salsa classes, I don't know, you can spice things up. But within the smallest things in life, will you discover more of yourself. If it's not your cup of tea, it's perfectly fine. Because the worst thing that can happen is for you to realize that it's not your thing. You go back to your comfort zone, and you will continue on with your life and try to discover new things, experiment, and find new things about yourself that you might want to stick around with for a little longer. But if you find something that you do like, if you find a passion within you that was ignited, if you discover a talent within you that didn't know existed in the first place, you absolutely won the game. And the only thing that you had to do was to cross that line between what's comfortable and what's not. Thank you.